Joe, I'm on the balcony of the Pitcher and Piano Bar on the iconic Tyne quayside, those famous bridges behind me. A bit cold and damp here in Newcastle this morning. So can the budget be a ray of sunshine? Well, I'm with three people with very different perspectives on that. First of all, Andy Radcliffe, you are the Chief Executive of S Group, which is a builder and a housing developer based in County Durham. What do you want to see from the Chancellor?
Well, as you'd expect, I'd like to see some support for housing to help us deliver the volume of housing that we desperately need in the country. The private housing market is in a kind of state of disarray at the moment as it adjusts to the new reality of interest rates at levels that we haven't really seen for coming on 20 years. There is talk of a 99% mortgage guarantee scheme, which may have some merit, but unless lenders come forward with products that are more attractive for buyers, I can't see it having a significant impact on demand. And actually the Help to Buy scheme that was in previously was a much more impactful scheme that the government introduced.
Of course, levelling up was the big promise from the Conservatives to this part of the world. Are you seeing that, and do you want more of it?
Well, certainly. I mean, we've actually seen some good success in the levelled up bids in the North East particularly. And actually the scheme that we're carrying out over here, the major refurbishment of the Tyne Bridge that we've just started on, is an example of some major investment in the North East. But of course we need more. We have some world-class businesses in the North East, but we need to invest in infrastructure, in connectivity to allow them to attract the investment and the talent that they need to thrive. And
talking about investment, clearly there is this speculation that actually, in terms of long-term public spending, that may be squeezed in this budget. Would that worry you in terms of as a company that gets involved with infrastructure building?
Yeah, absolutely. If we want to level up the country, we need to invest in these major projects that attract investment and attract people, build housing that people can live and work in the right places. So yes, it's actually quite a concern if we have to see a depressed level of investment, certainly in the North East.
Well, Amanda Bailey, you are the director of the North East Child Poverty Commission, which researches and lobbies on that issue. What would you like to see from Jeremy Hunt?
I think we need to hear what the plan is for children and young people, and particularly children and young people on the very lowest incomes in places like the North East. You know, we all know that the North East can be the most fantastic place to live, to grow up, to raise a family, but it isn't for everybody. And until we make it a place where every child and young person can reach their potential, we're not going to do that as a region as a whole. And the reality is that our region has seen the steepest increases in child poverty of anywhere in the country over most of the last decade. And actually 1 in 5 children in the North East are living in what's known as deep or very deep poverty. And that level of inequality and hardship is just not acceptable in what remains one of the wealthiest countries in the world.
These are very deep-seated long-term problems, though. What could the Chancellor do today that actually make a difference?
In the immediate term, we need to see an urgent extension of something called a Household Support Fund that's helped families in immediate crisis over most of the last 2 years.
And that's due to end, actually.
It's currently due to end at the end of this month. But in the longer term, we need what's the bigger picture and what's the bigger vision for children and young people. We need a government that's prepared to commit to ending child poverty, to a cross-government, cross-departmental, ambitious plan to say that, you know, this is wrong, that we have this level of inequality in our country, and particularly in places like the North East, and we're going to invest in children and families to improve that.
And when you hear that public sector spending may be squeezed in some departments in coming years, what does that raise for you?
I think that's really concerning. We know that all the services and support that families and children rely on are already overstretched in our region, whether that's schools, colleges, youth services, local authorities. I think what's particularly concerning is that that's going to be stretched by paying the price of a national insurance cut that will disproportionately not benefit the North East. So we may pay the price of a cut that actually benefits people in London and the South East the most.
Well, Johnson Fernandes, you're the founder of equiwatt, a Gateshead-based tech firm. You're very much a growing company, a new company. What can the Chancellor do to actually encourage more businesses like that to this part of the world?
Yeah. So it's a challenging time, right, for everyone, isn't it? So what I would like to see is commitment to continue spend on innovation, because spending on innovation creates more businesses like us, creates more jobs, and then, you know, that's how the economy can move forward.
You were telling me that actually being based in Gateshead is actually harder to attract investment, perhaps, than it would be if you were based in London.
Yes, that's right, and that's all part of the leveling up, isn't it? So we need more connectivity, more presence of investors, more regional funds, so that we can retain talent as well as acquire new talent and then grow our business. So yeah.
I suppose the big headline we know about is this national insurance cut, yet another national insurance cut. Is that good news for your company and your staff?
Again, challenging times, right? So households are trying to, reduce the spend on clothing, energy bills, and we've seen that evidence in our business, where by reducing energy demand at peak times, households can get pennies which add up. And this is the same measure that the government is trying to do by focusing on the sum of marginal gains on things like the national insurance. I think that's a great way forward.
Well, Johnson Fernandes, thank you, and thank you to all my guests. A long wish list there for the Chancellor. We'll find out very soon how much of it he can deliver.